Sanbona, Abshin, I, Hoyamo, or Hoyamida. Yeah, and it's an honor and a privilege to be given this opportunity to share some of the insights around, careers into IT. But I think what I like about our previous speaker was, she deep dive into her past. So in the entry I got. So I grew up like Mofolo. I started Ikhwezi school and then moved to Ikhwezi higher primary, and then I completed my matric in Mncube. But a bit of background about myself is that when I was a child, I was this inquisitive child. And being inquisitive meaning that I was a hands-on type of a person. To what our previous speaker said, she knew that she wanted to become an advocate. But sadly, back in our years, there were like a few careers that were made aware that we can pursue. Or doctor, nurse, police, umapalane, and those basic stuff. However, that didn't deter me because I would look for izinto ze-electronics. Sisamba sekangeni sifike stop ama-radio and stuff. Ngifike ngiwahlalele nje. Dobe nama-battery ngiconnecte kugcine sekhaya. At times ngibe inquisitive, ngikhathi u-TV yasekhaya. Lo isebenzi ngenalutho. Ngifuna ukubona ukuthi kudlala ngathi mangibuyisela izibala savale kahle. Uyabona ngithi ngiyabuyisela okunye ukuthi bangaboni. But my light ebusuku bathola ukuthi TV ithulele. Bathi kwenzeni? Ngathi haya ngenzanga next. So ama-TV akudala bekuthi makuba nenkinga uthi nje pha emasayidini bese yalight yanezithulele. Uthe makathi ayishawe yebo ukuthi ivuliwe. Bangibizela ngale-ke bathi indaba yebhanda ngithi uyazenza. Kwaya isikhathi. But still, inquisitive. That very same TV, speaker. Makufi speaker idlala, angithi bengihlale ngidobha izinto. And then I was like, can I try and find a speaker? But if I pulled, I was but because I had learned my lesson, ngivula speaker, TV yaba right. So as I was growing up, I knew that I wanted to do into some electrical engineering and stuff. So when I completed my matric, I went straight to tech. I did electronics and some heavy current stuff. Little that I knew, when I completed my tertiary, I needed some apprentices so that I can get the hands-on, similar to your stuff. So we started applying, looking for my apprentices and stuff. So I would even apply my bank, just to this bike is born. And the vital thing is that we come from a Christianity background where every Sunday my mom started Sisonto. So the faith, God existed in our lives. Sifake my city council, sifake yonke indawo. Eventually, when the opportunities are available, some apprenticeship, sangena kuma interview, avela ngesikhathi siwani. Kwaba i-airport, kwaba i-City of Joburg, and thirdly, kwaba i-Standard Bank. So I attended lezo, and then there were hands-on stuff that we needed to do. Those were basic stuff, like I would club those things. So I was adamant at the time in Zungena City of Joburg and start doing electrical stuff and fulfill my dream. It turned out that their recruiting process was taking forever. And then they called me at Standard Bank. So I get there, I'm thinking, what am I doing here? Oh yeah, but I did put in a CV. Okay, go in for an interview. And they were recruiting for IT. In my mind was like, what is IT? Because back then IT was, for the Lanis. But I said, well, let me give it a shot. And then we sat in the interview and whatnot. And they were impressed because I told them that, I'm more than happy to broaden my horizons. They called me again the following week, and at the time, being someone bitokonyana gas, like as a person, so I used to tell my boss, I do go for my interviews, for my internships and stuff, and he was very supportive. Then I went for the second one. That very same week, they called me in for the third one. But on that day, they called me at the airport, and then Bambi's an assistant bank while waiting for feedback on the other end. So fortunately, they were staggered, the assistant bank being 8, and then the next one being 11. So I said, you know what? Because I was using train as means of transport. Mangena ngifike ngilindeke lapha. Hayi ke mangilinda ngize nge-reception bayizeke ke umuntu afika ngithatha. Mangikhuphuka sesingena lapha ne-third floor. Kunomlady la oyi-receptionist. Hayi ke introduce ke sikuthola kunegama lami lesikole ngeke ngitshela kodwa. So i-intro yangena kuthiwa no lo Hazel lo Umpila. Umpila, he's joining us as of today. And then I got baffled. What are they talking about? Because I was with Bakumbangan. And then, roll call until Bazabambonis and the desk, everything was all set. Maybe in a computer. I don't even know where to begin a computer because Nangazi in Tambo, Kenika, or maybe I would be a cat and I need a good weather. Okay, then. Again, then my boss, because we had the following week, and then I'm trying to say, I'm making some basic tasks. But because I was so inquisitive, I told you to go shooting in the like test corner, could go to my computer, not time figure I can't. I want to my peripherals and my packets, but as Miss Katisia, then I realized that I'm starting to like this field. Because now it combines both the hands-on type of stuff that I do, plus there's another intricacy that gets introduced in the midst of things. And then, then time went by, I started picking up on my basics, and then I started attending training. Immediately after that, then I started seeing the light, because now they were starting to entrust in me. Then I went straight to ERAU, which is now UJ, and then I registered there for computer science, then I just pursued the IT from then. So that's how my career started. So the long and the short is sometimes indlela ephipha and makaphivela yona angayivele ngalendlela onuyibheke ngayo. So do not challenge the status quo, just grab the bull by the horns and make things happen. So like our speaker made mention that there might be a lot of jargon. So I've prepared a mini presentation that I'll be sharing with Utuli after the session that she can disseminate to everyone. So this is custom made and I called it GOI Youth Development in Information Technology. And part of my agenda, it's around the intro to IT, understanding your primary goals, how to plan for your career in IT, which is so crucial, what qualifications will be required, what skills are needed, and how do we get there? Because it's very important to know how to get there. So before I even get into that, we need to be clear that there is a clear distinction between computer literacy and IT. So computer literacy is when you can log into a computer or a laptop and whatnot, open your Word document and whatnot, and you do your thing. That's literacy, that means you've got the basics. Now IT, on the other hand, it's the enablement that gives you that platform to be able to use that. So it's a physical hardware combined with software that creates a platform where it processes, it creates your metadata and whatnot, and our responsibility as IT people is to articulate that metadata into a readable format. What do I mean by that? So IT, there's different streams. So there's the hardware element and there's a software element. So hardware is where people are specializing with the physical things, which I was hoping I was gonna end, where they focus on building the infrastructure physically, peripherals, etc., etc. And then the software side, it's more around the creation of the applications that are being consumed by the people in various streams or various organizations. So information technology, in a nutshell, is the use of computers to create, process, store, and exchange all information in an electronic data format. If there's any questions, please raise your hand. And the primary goals, that we obviously need to consider or think about is, what is it that tickles me when it comes to IT? Because IT is for inquisitive people. IT is for people that are constantly hungry to learn new things every minute, every hour, every day. So there's no point to rest. So I've listed a few guiding points that will help you to unpack that. So the first point is around where you do your assessment in terms of understanding your interests, values, and personality. And that's basic stuff. You look at your hobbies. What is it that intrigues you around your hobbies? What activities do you normally do? Is it simple stuff? Is it complex stuff? Is it, you know yourself. And then you think of what can make you happy or what makes you happy. And that is the most important thing, where what makes you happy should tie to your overall career aspirations, meaning your prospects that are going to be due to you. Because if you do something that you like, you're going to excel in it. Skills and attributes, and those are still basic stuff, which is around teamwork, and also the key one being problem solving. Problem solving is a generic term. It's used in IT, it is used in normal day-to-day stuff. So you look at the problem, you analyze it, you look at the complexity, and then you look at how you can dissect it to get to a solution. That is problem solving. And then you look at the lifestyle that you're planning to have in the future. And you also look at what skills are going to be needed there. And then you look at the education that will be needed. And then lastly, you look at the market that you're actually targeting in order to fulfill your dreams. There's a nice saying by Richard Branson: whatever your goal is, you will never succeed until you let go of your fears and fly. So remember that and make sure that you live by it. So what I've done is, from this presentation, is I've just elected the top 7 careers in IT. However, I have embedded more information where you can browse for multiple careers that are available in information technology. Just to share on a high level, so there is an area in IT called, that's where it all begins. Even if when you look at IT, look at it as a shop or as a car. Because other people, they think IT is just you being on the computer. So think about it this way. So in a car, there's people that are doing tires. There's people that are doing windscreens, engine, electrical stuff, you name it. Yeah. So you look at those components that will combine and give you that practical service that you're looking at. Yes. Oh. Yeah.
So what is the difference between coding and IT?
Yeah, so I'll get to that. But so coding, as you can see, part of these top 5. So coding is more of taking an application. So if you look at the organization, we get people that are providing the software, being the vendor, for an example. When they give you that application, it's in the box. So we need to take that application and custom fit it into our organization. And the only way we can achieve it is through our application coders that will customize and make it fit for the purpose of our organization. So meaning that this is the crucial part of the business, because what they do on the back end. For an example, if you look at a company like the bank will have separate divisions, home loans, verve, credit and whatnot. So you will have responsible coders that will be doing solely work for home loans, and also some that are doing work for credit. So those are the key crucial people that make sure that they customize and give us the look and feel and simplify the processes, so that when I look at the interface, I know exactly what it needs to do. But the crux of the matter is at the back, where you guys make it happen. It's the building blocks that you build for us. Okay. So you've touched on the DevOps, which is the part that I wanted to touch on. That's the first pillar. And then there's an architect. An architect, I think it's a common phrase. When you want to build a house, you need an architect. So with IT, the same topology still exists, where for any solution, based on your question, is we take an out-of-box solution and we need to make it fit the purpose for the organization. Then we take the architect that will carve that solution to say, this piece will obviously work better for this section, and it needs to be presented in this fashion, etc., etc., etc. And then you get the solutions architect. Solutions architect, those are the main responsible people that take the business requirements. If you, let's say you are a team and then you discuss and you brainstorm, then they take those requirements and convert them into the usable modules. What do I mean by that? Custom-made solutions to fit the business purpose. And then you get the security side of things as well. Security is so crucial that, for an example, we're all using internet banking. And anybody at any given time can hack into your phone or to your system. So that's where information security comes in, to ensure that they secure the environment. Whatever loophole that they're trying to get into, we should be able to get alerts that there's people that are tampering with something. Therefore, we need to block them before they cause any serious damage. And then we have web developers. Those are the people that deals in creating the websites. So, you know, when you log on Google and then you open a website, which could be, you know, a BMW site or a camera site, so when you're looking for products, those are the web developers. So they take all the information from the client. If you're selling these cameras, for an example, they will take the screen or the pictures of the camera and everything else that comes with it, including pricing and whatnot, and then they create a very flexible website, so that when you and I go into the website, we just click, 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 and we get all the information. Those are the web developers. And then there's another one which is called data science. That's an interesting one. So data science it's so complex, it's not even funny. So all of us, you know, when we were born, our information is somewhere in Home Affairs. So that information is readily available. However, the data science goes deeper than that, because what they do is they provide the information to various sources. So meaning that they need to map all that information, not just to the local citizen, but across the globe. Because when you go overseas, they will know that you've got a criminal record. So what they do is they map all those complexities into usable forms. Meaning that they solicit information from TransUnion, from the bank, from Home Affairs and whatnot. When you pull that information from your system, it gives you everything about the person. So that is another one. And then how do you plan for a career in IT? Firstly, you need to understand your goals. Right, what are your goals? You would know your goals because you have to have done some level of introspection. Understand what the goals mean to you, and is it something that you're going to be able to live with for the rest of your life? And secondly, what skills are required for you to achieve what you want to achieve? And then the other thing within IT, we also have career paths. So for an example, a an application coder, people that write programs, they've got their career path that is shaped for their programmers. And then on the other hand, there is another resource, let's say, that deals with networking. Within networking stream, there's a career path. It's not like the basic stuff. So you keep on learning and enhancing because technology constantly evolves. So that's a career path that you set for yourself. And then lastly, how do I apply the So once you've understood where the career path lies, then you'll be able to say, from all these things that I've been doing, I think I'm ready to say that networking is my specialty. And then the qualifications, which is the interesting one. There's people that comes from the varsity with degrees, which obviously is mostly the entry level for most of the organizations. And there's people with diplomas. Some organizations, they do consider them, some they don't. And then there's a third leg, which is certifications. Certifications is the most common path that the youth and everybody else follows. However, it needs you to be sure and do a proper introspection, because you're gonna pick a career. For an example, my career right now is, I'm a cloud specialist. So being a cloud specialist, meaning that every time I need to make sure that I keep up with the upcoming cutting edge technologies. And the qualifications that, if I'm still a junior like you guys, and I decided to go as a cloud engineer, there's a learning path that you need to follow. It's very steep and tiresome, but it's doable. So you start focusing on that skills development. And the good thing is that the information is now readily available on YouTube, LinkedIn, and there's various sources where you can do free courses and then you write your exams. So most companies now, they prefer people that comes with certifications over people that are coming with degrees and diplomas. But I'm not saying we shouldn't do them, because those are basic requirements. However, with the certifications, as I said, you constantly need to upskill and upskill. There's no part where you're gonna say, I think I've done enough. And then in terms of the skills that you need, the main one is communication. And I think it's common across the board in terms of the careers. However, with IT, it's slightly different, because when you communicate in a manner that we are providing a service, you are the customer. So I need to understand your requirements. I need to understand what you're trying to achieve. I need to understand the budget that you have in order to be able to fulfill that solution. I need to understand how big is your organization or your department. So it's a whole lot of big things that you need to unpack, and that requires you to actively communicate to ensure that you understand what the customers require and what the customers need. So you don't do what you think the customers require, it's the other way around. Networking. Previous speaker also touched on it. So with IT, it is very crucial that we network. Networking means you build fruitful relationships across the board. Because in IT, it's all interdependence, where I could be doing this, but I'm still dependent on somebody that provides networking resources, storage resource, compute resource, operating system, you name it. So you can never survive on your own if you don't network. So that is crucial. Problem solving, we touch on it. Cyber security, we touch on it. Let me touch on how we get there as individuals. Obviously, all of us, we're asking ourselves, okay, yeah, he's talking IT, but how do I get there? So there's various options now that the organization, or most organizations, have made available. One, there's leadership programs. Leadership programs, it caters for people that are coming from institutions where they completed their diplomas and they still want to fulfill their careers in IT, and it doesn't require any experience. So once you've got the solid foundation right in your diploma, you can simply apply for a learnership. And those learnerships, the process is very straightforward. You just apply, you go through the interview process, and then you start the program. And the good thing about it is that through that learnership engagement, you get to circulate into different streams of IT while you're still finding yourself. So you can go and do storage, which is where the data is stored. You can do networking, which is the interconnectivity of the various infrastructures. You can do operating system support. You can do hardware. You can do pretty much everything. And then once you get to a point where you've unpacked what you want to be, then you pick a stream and then you focus on it. Fortunately, most of those learners, they get accepted into those various areas. Second one, it's a graduation program, or they call it a grad program. It's for people fresh from the varsity, no experience, no nothing. Same applies, apply, you go through the interview, but that one is treated slightly different, where there is a level of higher compensation to learnership, that's one. Two, the exposure is slightly different because they engage at a senior level and they get more exposure into other things. So that is another option. And the third one, obviously, is to apply for employment. But when you apply for employment, coming straight from varsity, the first thing they look at is the experience, then they say, no, thank you very much. We appreciate your degree and your diploma, but there's nothing you can do. So what I'm saying is, yes, there might be instances where you would like to go straight to employment and you want to try luck, by all means. But don't neglect the other two options where you can go learnership and the grad programs where they can take you through and build your skills. So the learnership takes about a year and then the grad program is about 2 years. But most of those people, they don't even get to complete because they get accepted in various areas. Meaning that they've shown their hunger and they've proven beyond reasonable doubt that they're ready to face the world, and then they get accepted into these spaces. So in short, what I was sharing with you is some of the basic principles that you need to understand when you join IT. Don't look at IT as a narrow shop. It's quite a big shop, and that takes a lot of courage because we constantly work under pressure. Like the previous speaker said, when we start at 8, if we experience an issue, one of the main critical systems is down, we work overnight. At some point, there was a time I worked almost 4 days, flat out. So we go in there for 10 minutes or whatnot and then come back because critical services were impacted. So it comes at a price. You need to be able to handle pressure. And also, don't look at IT as all because if you make one slight mistake, you might affect, the bigger critical services, which might get you kicked out of the door. However, they do give you the room to grow, to make mistakes, and ask questions, and then you apply yourself. So, if there's any questions, please feel free to just pass them via to or myself. Another question.
Is it advisable for a person to start with coding before they enter into the IT field, or will it form part of the course that you'll be doing, as well as software development?
So, part of your training and development in IT, so if, say you want to be a coder, so you will pick a course, which is a Python course, for an example, that's bundled with other things, where it prepares you to understand that, yes, we're going to do coding to prepare the enablement, but how do you apply it? Because it needs to be applied somewhere. So they will give you all the fundamentals that are required. So to answer your questions, they go hand in hand. So you can do your coding, but you need to understand the full fundamentals of IT. So you can do your coding, but you might not even know how to apply it. So they go hand in hand. Make sure that you get your basics right, and then you apply your coding on top.
on web development, is it only HTML, the only applicable language, so you can create your website?
Interesting question. So HTML is one of the languages. However, web development it encompasses various languages. So you could use JavaScript, you could use Python, you could use, there's a process called bootstrapping. Bootstrapping is where you automate a various source of functions into one to drive certain processes that are repeatedly. So there's various languages that you use when you create a website. So if you want to use more graphical stuff and whatnot, you might want to incorporate bootstrapping. If you want to use a basic website, you can use your HTML, but they go hand in hand. Okay. If there's no further question, thank you very much. I will share the slide deck, and then we can ask questions, then I'll be able to respond. Thank you.